Oh my gosh. So we are now live. The summit is live. And I just thought we'd have a quick pop back in, Sarah, and talk about Lila's opening talk. And because it's now going live at the moment, and what you thought about the talk, and if you've managed to actually watch some of it.
Oh, it's so inspiring listening to it. And I just think that it sums up what we're doing so beautifully, and such an important message about what we need to do next and how we need to come together to do it. And Linzi, for you, obviously you've been talking with her. What did it mean for you?
Oh, look, Sarah, you know that we've stood in business schools over the last few years, and every time we've said, taught people, who could they be talking to? And I've always said, and you've always said, we could be talking to the United Nations. And I then went to America with the CEO of Bob, Catherine, and we went to see one of her good friends, Matt Shetner. And we sat in a meeting with him, and he said, hey, who do you want to talk to when you're in New York? And I said, well, the United Nations, because I've been saying it every time that we've been in the business school, of course. Anyway, within about 3 minutes, he's messaged Claudia Edelman, and she is the next speaker after Lila. And Claudia is an advisor to the United Nations, and she also is an advisor for the World Economic Forum. She stands for the Hispanic nation. And I've been now working with Claudia for the last 2 years. She's a dear friend of mine. And when we chatted, she said, hey, what do you want to do with your business? What do you want to do with Bob? And I said, oh, we really want to partner with the United Nations, because for us, for everybody to be seen and heard around the world, who better to have a partnership with than the United Nations? And so she messaged her friend Lila. Lila then saw us when we were in New York on the same trip, and we've been working with both ladies ever since. And I have to say, watching Lila open the summit for us is probably one of the proudest moments of my entire career. I don't know how it gets much better than having the United Nations opening the summit for you.
I've got to say, when I first saw it, and with the big United Nations sign behind her with the flag, I was like, this is really real. It's really real. And I love what they stand for. And I would so encourage everybody to jump on for Claudia's as well. That's following now, isn't it? Because it's now. Unite on diversity, unite on inclusion, the way she speaks as well. I mean, they're both so passionate. It's obviously love what they do, driven by personal purpose.
Yeah. And both of them are very powerful women in their own rights. And at the same time, very, very humble, very inspiring, very energizing, but they are just very, very giving as people. And when I heard Lila talk about, obviously we know, you and I, the importance of the United Nations goals, how we're going to align our businesses with the United Nations goals, what Bob is doing and looking to do over the coming years is have every single business that comes through Bob's business school on the Bob Earth platform to, once they've understood what their vision is, what their DNA is for their business, they then go and align themselves with 1, 2, 3 of the United Nations goals. So they really understand what their vision, what their DNA is, but also what impact they're trying to do in the world and align that with the goals. And then at the same time, I know both Claudia and Lila are very much around unity and uniting the world together. And Lila is very passionate about uniting the world and what that means. She's worked at the UN, I think, for 17 years. And Claudia, when you listen to Claudia's, Claudia will speak about diversity and inclusion, how we are all human, the importance of what that means as we're coming through COVID, how unity has to stand for all. And she really speaks with passion. I mean, she's a very, very passionate lady, and she speaks with huge passion around this topic. And then when you've watched Claudia's, you will be able to watch the first live panel discussion. And that's going to be hosted. That's the UK one. I know there's an Australian one that's going to be taking place later on, whilst we're asleep, or I might not be sleeping.
For us. Yeah, first thing.
We've got the first one, which is the UK one, and the UK one is really going to have some very key people. We've got Simone Rush, who's going to be hosting the panel, very purpose-driven. She's all
Linz, I think you have frozen. So let me tell you about the Australian one. So we are hosting
Power Men.
Are you there? So we are hosting, there's a panel in the UK, which Linz is about to tell us when she comes back online, and there's a panel in Australia as well. So the Australian panel is, we're hosting, I was just saying while you froze, Linz.
Thank you.
About the Australian panel, and we are hosting, Tim and I are actually hosting that one. We've run a masterclass on purpose, which is the how. So what you're getting at the moment is, when you listen to Claudia, it's the inspiration and it's the vision behind it. Then we have the masterclasses around, well, how do we actually do that? And then we have panels and in conversations with people who are in this space and really impacting in this space. And the Australian panel, we're interviewing a neuroscientist, and he's all about purpose. And his name is Paul Taylor. And he's talking about why we need it, what happens in our brains, what happens in our bodies, and why we need purpose personally, but also in businesses, and how that allows us to actually take action. So I'm fascinated by the conversation I'm going to have in the morning. So Linz, who do you have on your panel?
Oh, we've got Nina from the BBC, and she hosts, she stands for 50-50, which is an integral part of our business model. It's all around how men and women join together. It's not just about the male voice, but it's also about the female voice and vice versa. And Nina works with my dear friend June Sarpong, who I presented a television program with, T4, many moons ago, and have known June Sarpong ever since. We have Adriana Herbert, and she is the face, one of the faces of Adidas, and she has a book out called Power Hour and a very successful podcast called Power Hour with about 1.5 million people watching the podcast. It's very successful. And change.com as well. And each lady is going to interestingly, the first panel is all women as well. Interestingly, that panel is a great panel to talk about unity, diversity, and inclusion, and really what that means around purpose. Because one of the main things, unite on purpose, the reason why we called it Unite on Purpose was unity is an integral part of everything that we should be doing on the planet. And when you get into the highest context, the highest spiritual context of unity, that means that everybody comes together as one. So I am looking forward to that panel. And then this afternoon, our CEO, Catherine Plunkett, is going to be hosting the Unite on Purpose panel. And there's some incredible speakers on there also beaming in from America. But I'm interviewing her in about an hour. So I won't speak about that yet until I interview her and she can talk a bit more about who's on her panel and also talk about what she feels about the Claudia interview.
And so that will be on this channel here, Linz. If we want to put our Ugg boots on in Australia and get our cup of tea and and watch Netflix style, we can watch in the Facebook group.
Oh yeah, you can binge watch. We're calling it Bob Flicks for the next 24 hours, and you can be binge watching as much as you want right now. And I love the fact that you can get your Ugg boots on to do that. I've just got such a memory of that. Oh my God!
I have to get my Ugg boots on, to be honest.
Exactly. But we are, yeah, you can binge watch that, and that will be on. So we are live streaming into here all day. If you look at my schedule, I'll just show you this. This is my live schedule for the day, and it shows when I'm going to be on, when I'm going to be on this, when I'm going to go and do a recording, when I'm going to go and do an interview, when I'm going to crazy.
Mine looks a bit like that tomorrow, to be fair.
Yeah. Military operation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sarah. And I know that you might be going to bed soon, although I'm not sure if you will be going to bed. So if you are going to be up, do message me and I'll get you to come on maybe in your Ugg boots.
And my gym jams.
But then at 9 o'clock this evening, I think I'm going to do a live with you, and I'm going to then pass the baton to you, and you're going to then take over and start your sessions, which is when I believe Australia starts to go live. And then I'm going to get up early in my pajamas, and I'm going to sit with you and have my hot water and lemon in my PJs, and I will chat with you in the morning, which will be very bright and breezy, about how the night's gone and what's happened for you.
Oh, I can't wait to hear. Excellent. Well, have a wonderful day. I won't be able to sleep tonight. There's no chance of that. Have an amazing day. I know this is your big vision, and we're just so proud to be part of it with you, Linz.
Oh, I'm so proud. And I want to say, just before we head off, I'm so proud of all the Bob team, because my gosh, we would never have got this on without them. And the work that has gone on behind putting this summit on is immense. So thank you all, and thanks to the Bob team for making it possible and living out our dream.
Oh, enjoy everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.